His Excellency Mr. Hussein Guru Said Bakirov, Minister of Ecology and Natural Resources of Azerbaijan. Your Excellency, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen, many years has elapsed since Kyoto. What were these years like? Were it years of only numerous statements, declarations, or years of actions and sustainable development as well? In the face of daunting prospects, consolidated efforts on elaboration of a common strategy are required in order to understand the true sense of the processes. There is a need for concrete actions of states individually and collectively. Actions by every single sector, every single business, every single farmer, and the international community as a whole. We believe that Copenhagen represents a historic opportunity to meet expectations of people around the world. Being a supporter of the principle of command but differentiated responsibility enshrined in the Convention, Azerbaijan hopes that new decision will adequately correspond to interest of all. We understand that developed countries are agreed to lead and assume more responsibility, not only by promoting national progress, but also by contributing to regional and global efforts, including through promotion of transfer of technology and capacity building. In this regard, we support the principle of reduction of GHG's emissions growth rate through implementation of national appropriate mitigation actions. Azerbaijan, at the same time, supports the ongoing efforts of countries to bridge gap between positions of developed countries and non-Annex I countries, with a view of reaching agreement on long-term targets based on the Bali roadmap. Madam President, we are non-Annex I country, and measured against a base year of 1990, our share in global emission constituted only 0.3%. Nowadays, as a result of continued targeted measures, our share equaled to 0.1%, and we achieved the GHG's reduction from annual 70 million to 45 million tonnes. My government attaches a high importance to the issues of transformation of the country's entire economy to principles of sustainable development, while focusing on the protection of environment and mitigation of climate change effects. Looking back at years of our own participation in the Kyoto process, I keep on asking myself the same question, whether these years have been the period of leaves without figs, or they have brought the changes triggered by concerns of politicians and painstaking efforts of whole nation. The period afterward Kyoto and this period were not as smooth for us. The first 7-8 years we spent for the survival of nation. Aggression, occupation of part of country, and ethnic cleansing were not favorable factors as well. Nevertheless, my country succeeded in reducing the GHG's emission by more than 420 million tonnes since the Kyoto process started. This volume equal to the annual GHG's emission of some well-developed large European countries. This is our concrete contribution, which is now the case. Therefore, I can unambiguously state that notwithstanding all hardships and deficiency of our capacities, the achieved result provides a clear answer to the question if this years were the years of the words of deeds. It should be noted that during these years, the economy of the country grew by several times, from 5.2 billion USD in 2000 to 46.2 billion USD in 2008. One can argue that it is the result of oil boom, but equally important is to take into account that in 2008, for example, non-energy sector also featured 15.7% growth. Intensive work was carried out towards the elimination of heavy legacy. All power plants were shifted from a fuel oil natural gas base, which is less harmful for the air. Yes, we are an oil country. Nevertheless, a great project is now being launched under direct supervision of the President of the country. and this is the creation of the strong sector of renewable energy. In 8 to 10 years, the power generated by wind and solar energy in the country is supposed to account in thousands of megawatts. Due to study efforts, we have managed to expand the forest cover of the country by 0.4%, which means that CO2 emissions will be reduced by another 1 million tons a year within the next 10 years when this forest will be matured. To give more power to the process of expanding a great green cover in my country, leadership of country has put forward a personal initiative to plant in the most drought areas of country 3 million trees by the end of 2010 and 10 million trees within the next 3 years while using treated water for irrigation. Madam President, actually, as a member of government with a long record of service, I have to acknowledge that when I look back, I feel happy that we have succeeded as much. However, when I look to the future, I realize with the greatest concern that many times more is yet has to be done. And in our country, this is a deep understanding of the seriousness of the future tasks. It is therefore that the country's government has declared the year of 2010 as a year of environment in Azerbaijan for green earth. Thanks to all for patience and participation in this meeting for this late time.